The United States Postal Service. For generations, it's been a symbol of connection, delivering letters, packages, and vital communications. But behind this image of everyday reliability lies a dark and often challenging history. A history marked by hardship and deeply concerning events. The phrase, "going postal," has become chillingly synonymous with workplace violence. It evokes images of disgruntled employees, pushed to their breaking point, leading to tragic outcomes. While there's no single explanation for these tragedies, common threads of job dissatisfaction, mental health struggles, and a sense of isolation often emerge. Today, we delve into the most notorious going postal incidents in American history, exploring the factors that led to these devastating events and the legacy they left behind. Our first story takes us to Edmond, Oklahoma. The morning of August 20th, 1986, started like any other at the Edmond, Oklahoma post office. Mail carriers prepared their routes, sorting letters and packages, unaware that one of their own had arrived with a destructive delivery. Patrick Sherrill, a 44-year-old former Marine and part-time postal worker, walked into the building carrying his mailbag. Only this time, it wasn't filled with letters. Hidden inside were 3 firearms. Sherrill, described as quiet and reserved, had a history of difficulty connecting with his co-workers. He was reportedly seeing a psychiatrist for anxiety and anger management, and was dealing with personal financial struggles, but no one suspected the darkness brewing within. For months, Sherrill had been on edge. He was a relief carrier, meaning he had no permanent route, bouncing from one assignment to another. His low seniority left him vulnerable to constant scrutiny, and he struggled under the rigid discipline of his supervisors. He had received multiple reprimands before, but the previous day had been particularly humiliating. 2 managers had called him into the office and harshly criticized his performance. Sherrill, his face flushed with anger, had stormed out, but not before making vague threats no one had taken seriously. Now, as he stepped into the post office that morning, his anger had hardened into a single, horrifying plan. Sherrill wasted no time. He locked the doors behind him, trapping nearly 100 employees inside. His first target was one of the managers who had disciplined him. Without hesitation, he raised his weapon and fired. The manager collapsed, lifeless. Sherrill then moved swiftly through the building, searching for the second manager, the one who had delivered the final reprimand. But fate had spared the man. He had overslept that morning and hadn't yet arrived at work. Enraged, Sherrill turned his fury on his co-workers. The post office erupted into chaos. Employees screamed and scrambled for cover as Sherrill fired indiscriminately. Some workers managed to escape through windows, while others huddled under desks, hoping he wouldn't see them. The rampage lasted less than 15 minutes, but the damage was irreversible. By the time police arrived and began storming the building, Sherrill knew his time was up. As officers closed in, he took his own life. On that fateful morning, Sherrill's emotions reached a breaking point, leading to a catastrophic event that resulted in the loss of 14 co-workers and injuries to 6 more. The Edmond incident remains the deadliest rampage at a workplace in U.S. history. It would later give rise to the phrase, "going postal," a grim reminder of the violence that had erupted in an ordinary workplace, on an ordinary day, by a man no one had truly seen coming. Our next story unfolds in Royal Oak, Michigan, in 1991.
Hello? At my door. He's at the postmaster's door, right outside his door. Are you still there? He's still in here shooting people. Are you shot? Yes! Hurry up, I think I'm going to die.
The morning of November 14th, 1991, began like any other at the Royal Oak Post Office in Michigan. Employees shuffled in, ready for another day of sorting and delivering mail. But one man arrived that morning with something other than letters in his hands. Thomas McIlvaine, a 31-year-old former Marine and former professional kickboxer, had been battling what he saw as an unfair termination. Fired from his job as a mail carrier, he had fought to reclaim his position, filing grievances and pushing for arbitration. He had warned union officials if he lost this case, there would be consequences. And now it was final. he had lost. Just a day earlier, McIlvaine had received the devastating news that his arbitration had failed. He would not be getting his job back. Furious and feeling betrayed, he left a chilling voicemail for one of his former supervisors. "I'm going to blow everything away." His threats had not gone unnoticed. A former supervisor had pressed charges against him for previous threats, though he had been acquitted. But his gun permit had been revoked. Still, employees at Royal Oak were well aware of the danger he posed. Some had even mapped out escape routes, just in case. But despite multiple requests for extra security, the US Postal Inspection Service had taken no action. At 8:45 a.m. on November 14th, McIlvaine returned. He entered the post office through an open loading dock door. He didn't hesitate. He raised his weapon and opened fire. Panic erupted as workers scrambled for cover while some ran for the exits. Some made it out. Others weren't as lucky. McIlvaine moved through the post office with precision, fueled by rage and a thirst for vengeance. By the time the chaos was over, the lives of 4 people were ended, and 6 more were wounded. As police arrived on the scene, McIlvaine, now surrounded, made his final, irreversible choice. Before law enforcement could take him down, he ended his own life. In the aftermath, the US Postal Service faced intense scrutiny. Why had warnings been ignored? Could this have been prevented? For those who survived, the answers didn't matter. They were left to pick up the pieces, haunted by the memory of the day when their post office turned into a war zone. Also in 1991, just a few months before the Royal Oak tragedy, Joseph Harris walked into the Ridgewood, New Jersey post office with deadly intentions. Harris's story is particularly chilling, as his rampage began before he even reached the post office, taking the lives of his former supervisor and her fiancée at their home. He then proceeded to the post office, taking the lives of 2 more postal workers. Harris's case highlighted the devastating consequences of unresolved grievances and the potential for violence to spill over beyond the workplace. Our final story takes us to Goleta, California in 2006. Jennifer San Marco's story is an alarming example of how mental health struggles, if left untreated, can lead to unimaginable outcomes. According to co-workers, San Marco began exhibiting increasingly erratic behavior at her workplace. She talked to herself, murmured about conspiracies, and made bizarre accusations against those around her. Despite these clear warning signs, no formal intervention took place. In 2003, San Marco was released from the post office on psychological disability. San Marco relocated to Grants, New Mexico, where she lived a reclusive life. Neighbors described her as withdrawn and reported bizarre rituals, including running around nude and yelling racist epithets. Her paranoia intensified, fueled by the delusion that she was the target of a vast conspiracy. Despite her evident mental instability, San Marco was able to legally purchase a 9mm semi-automatic weapon in New Mexico. Over the next few months, she meticulously planned her attack, compiling a list of individuals she believed were responsible for her misfortunes. On January 30th, 2006, San Marco returned to Santa Barbara, California, and initiated her fatal rampage. Her first victim was Beverly Graham, a former neighbor who had previously obtained a restraining order against her. San Marco then proceeded to the postal facility in Goleta. She tailgated another car into the secured gate, and then approached an employee and stole his ID badge to gain access to the building. She told the employee to leave after she stole the badge and no harm was done to the employee. She then took the lives of 3 employees in the parking lot. The employees were Z. Fairchild, Malika Higgins, and Nicola Grant. Once inside the post office plant, she opened fire, taking the lives of 3 more postal workers, Dexter Shannon, Guadalupe Swartz, and Charlotte Colton. The attack lasted less than 10 minutes, leaving behind a scene of unimaginable horror and grief. San Marco took her own life at the scene. The Goleta postal carnage was a tragedy of immense proportions, leaving families shattered and a community in shock. While the phrase "going postal" has become a part of our culture, It's crucial to remember that these are not just punchlines or stereotypes. These are real tragedies, with real victims. If you found this video interesting, please join us for another true crime story by clicking on the video on your screen. We'll meet you over there.